Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tiffany and I'm a homeschooling mama of 3 boys. Although I have told you guys that I am in fact a total rookie when it comes to this entire homeschooling lifestyle, I will admit that I am pretty good at research. I'm a pretty big nerd when it comes to making big decisions. I like to make an informed and thorough decision when it comes to major life changes. So when it came time for me to really dive into this whole new world of homeschooling, I really tried to do my best to make an informed decision and know all about the ins and outs of homeschooling, particularly in California. Because I did all that research, I would love to share that with you guys today. These days in California, there are so many parents that are facing some really drastic measures that are being taken in the public school system. I try not to get too political on this channel. I really don't want to make it about that. There are parents that are facing just worries about vaccinations and sex ed curriculum. And so because I personally receive a lot of messages from my friends and family and people that I've met online about how to homeschool in California, I thought this would be a perfect time for me to share all of my research about how to homeschool in this state. Now, I in no way want to claim that I am an expert. I am not a lawyer. I am not a professional. I am not a teacher. I am not credentialed. I am just a mom who has the internet, who likes to Google search and can find things online. So this is all knowledge that you are able to find. I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier for you. I will drop links down below in the description box of anything that I can think of that might be helpful to you while you're in this process of researching homeschool for your own family. So let's get into what you came for, how to homeschool in California. The first thing I need to let you know is that homeschooling is not just a California thing. Homeschooling is legal in all 50 states. You as a parent have the right to homeschool your child. There may be a few differences between how it's done in California, how it's done in Idaho, how it's done in Texas. It's just going to differ from state to state. So you really need to do your research in particular to the area that you live in. So there are basically 4 different options for parents wanting to homeschool. The first option would be to pull your child out of school completely and file your own independent homeschool affidavit. I'm going to get into the specifics of that later. The second option would be to keep your child enrolled in a public school and then ask to be a part of an independent study program. The third option would be to do the same process through a private school. So you're paying tuition for a private school and then maybe you can ask to be a part of a home study program. I know very few schools offer that, but I did want to mention it. And then the third option would be to join a publicly funded charter school, and that is what we're doing as a family, so I will get into the specifics of that in a little bit. So if you choose to go the route of a private school affidavit filed through the California Department of Education, this is actually some special form that you can get online. I'm going to link that below in the description box. You're going to find a lot of links this video. And basically what that means is that you will be filing to make your house a private little teeny tiny educational institution. So you are filing permission with the state for your little homeschool to be registered as a private school. And if you are a family who has filed for an affidavit, go ahead and leave any advice that you have in the comments below. I'm sure it will be super helpful to people who are researching this topic. So basically, you're going to have to take the same measures as any private school or Christian academy you might have in your community. And you're going to have to keep records of attendance, of curriculum, grades, all of that. From what I've researched, you do have to be very thorough about your record keeping. Now, the major pro with this option is that you do not have to answer to anybody when it comes to your curriculum. You will be on your own when it comes to navigating through what standards you need to meet and what curriculum can match those needs, but it is really nice to have this sort of religious freedom. If you are a Christian family, that is wonderful news because you can use Christian curriculum freely. You don't have to come up with different samples than the actual coursework that you're doing. I'll get into that a little bit later, but basically you have the ultimate freedom when it comes to what you are teaching your children, and you just have to keep really accurate records. Now, in order to file this type of affidavit, you do have to apply within a certain window. And then there is a portion of the year where you are not allowed to file a affidavit. So you do have to be really mindful of when you're filing it. But I think that as long as you are on top of it with your record keeping, you should be fine. I should also mention that filing a private school affidavit does not mess up your child's opportunity to go back to school if need be. So if something changes within your family structure and unfortunately your child has to go back to school, or maybe you want to send them back to school, I don't know what your situation might be. If you have to make that decision for your family, it will not affect your child's ability to go back into the public school system or the school district that's closest to your home. It does not affect that at all. The next options for homeschooling would be the independent study program through a public school. So basically, if your child is having some sort of health issue or you just want to try out homeschool temporarily to see if it works for your family, this is a really good option for you. All you would need to do is go to your public school that your child is already enrolled in and say, I want to put my child in the independent study or homeschool program if you have it. So the way that that works is you're typically given a packet of work to finish. This would be the work that your child would have been given in class. So it's the same stuff that the children in their classroom would be working through, and you work through it at home. So I would recommend this for two types of people. Maybe people who need to take their child out of school temporarily for an illness or some sort of family emergency. This could work really great for you if you plan on putting them back in public school. And then for people who, like me, were really hesitant and didn't know if home learning was even going to be a long-term solution for their family. Now, the major con of this type of learning is you do not really have freedom when it comes to curriculum. That is what brought me to our charter school situation, which I will get into in just a moment. So this is not an option that I'm super familiar with through experience for my family, but I have stumbled across several testimonies online of people who did an independent study program through a Christian school. So what you can do is call any of the private schools or Christian schools in your area and ask them if they have a distance learning program. This is very rare, but some schools do offer it. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I had seen really good testimonies online from a few people who had done that. And the last option that I want to share with you is going through a publicly funded charter school, which is what we are choosing to do for our family right now. So charter schools actually fall under the public school umbrella, which means that they are publicly funded the same way that public schools down your street might receive funding from the state is the same way that a charter school receives that money as well. Because of this, most charter schools are not for profit. So they are nonprofit organizations and they are usually tuition free. I haven't come across any charter schools in my area that require any type of tuition. So because charter schools are publicly funded, what this means is instead of the money that the state would give a school for your child's education, you would receive that as a parent. So with these funds, you can purchase anything that is going to benefit your child educationally. You can purchase all of the curriculum that you need as long as it is non-religious, secular material, because this is a publicly funded institution. You can't buy any Christian material. And then you can also purchase any type of technology that can help you, laptops, computers, iPads, anything like that. And you can also use those funds to pay for lessons. You can also use those funds to purchase anything that you might need at home as far as supplies goes. So pencils, paper, binders, highlighters, books, anything that you might need, as long as they're approved by the state and approved through your specific charter. Sometimes you can pay for field trips. We love being with a charter school. Now, another pro with the charter school is you do get a lot of guidance when it comes to help academically. So if you are intimidated about having to choose your own curriculum for your family, you'll probably have a teacher facilitator or an education specialist. The name varies, but it's basically a teacher who is designated to help your family succeed. And what this person does is they give you guidance as far as like what you can do, what you can't do, what you can spend on, what you can't spend on. And they also give you advice as to what standards you need to meet, and they break that down. They send you lots of lists. I don't have to do any sort of research when it comes to that. It's all sent to my email. It's very easy to access. And they also give support monthly when it comes to check-ins to see if your child is meeting those standards, and if they aren't, they'll help you with resources, and I really like that. Now, the two major cons about being with a charter school is that, number one, you cannot purchase any type of Christian curriculum at all with the funds that they're giving you. That is just to be expected. I mean, it's not a Christian academy, it's publicly funded, so they don't want any sort of religious material. And then the second thing is you actually cannot use religious material as sample work for your meetups with your designated teacher. I'm going to say teacher facilitator because that's what we have personally. So even though we have really great material and our children are learning a lot in science, for example, I cannot use samples from the Apologia notebooking journal that we're using as our proof that we've done science in our family. And that is a little bit of a con. My teacher facilitator has actually told me that the auditors that go through all of the sample work know that even though a page may not be talking about God in the workbook, they know to recognize what pages are from Apologia and Abeka and Sunlight, all those major Christian companies that a lot of people use. So I cannot use samples from my Christian curriculum, but all I really do is I just have my kid copy his work from like one of the Christian workbooks into a blank piece of paper, or he'll type it out, whatever works for us that month. And it's the same material, he's just taking out the God part of it. So in one workbook, we might be talking about physics, and then it might have a Bible verse on it, and he can just pull out the physics part of it and use that as a sample. Honestly, this one little con isn't anything that's going to deter me from the charter school system, and I definitely don't see it hindering a lot of families. A lot of Christian families I know just kind of do the same thing. They come up with more of a secular sample to use because the other pros of the charter school definitely outweigh the cons. There is support as far as like testing, if that's something that you're concerned about. There is support as far as special education. There are a lot of resources. You can do an IEP even though you're at the charter school. They have monthly meetups, they have contests, they have graduations, they have pictures, they have all kinds of social stuff that makes school really fun if you don't have that in your community. And it's just really nice for me specifically to have somebody that is a professional just looking at my work and making sure that we're covering all the bases, just in case my kids decide to go back to school one day, or if I have to go back to work one day and can't just physically be here to homeschool them. I just like to know that we're on track, and that's one of the main reasons we enjoy being with the charter. I also want to mention that there are a ton of homeschooling advocacy groups online. You can do a quick Google search, but I'm going to leave some down in the description box below. I think that can be really helpful. A lot of them offer help when it comes to filing your private school affidavit. They have help with just different resources for special education. There's just a lot of good information there. And like I said, I'm not a professional when it comes to this. I'm just sharing my experience as a mama who has done a little bit of research on her own, but that's going to be a really good resource for you down in the description box below. And then lastly, I also wanted to mention that the California Department of Education actually offers some assistance when it comes to special education needs. So that's going to be in the link that I'm leaving down below as well. It's going to be really helpful if you have a special education child and maybe you're filing for a private school affidavit and you still need some help in that direction because you won't have the guidance of a charter. Every situation might be unique, and so I just wanted to leave that resource in case you do have a special needs child. They will not get left behind, and homeschooling honestly is sometimes the best decision for special needs families. If this video was helpful to you, won't you please give it a like, and will you please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell down below? That really helps me out because then I know you guys can see my videos. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for anybody that has already subscribed and has been notified and comments on my videos. You guys are really encourage me to keep going, and the friendships that I made here and on Instagram are just overwhelmingly so great for my spirit. I have gone through a lot this year, and I have made some sweet friends, and sometimes I talk to my friends that I've met on Instagram more than my friends that I've known for years, and my husband laughs at me. So I just wanted to say thank you. Nice to meet you. If this is the first time that you are meeting me, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.